You're always busy with that little business of yours and never take care of the house properly." And just like that, my mother-in-law started complaining again. I'm Jacqueline, a 32-year-old web designer. I live with my husband, Mike, and his mother in the house where Mike grew up. I used to work at a company, but after getting married, I decided to work from home as a freelancer. Most of my work comes from recommendations, either from my old job or happy clients. They didn't want to lose me, so they keep sending projects my way. It works out well for everyone. I don't have to commute. And I also wanted to take care of the house after marriage. My old company and I are both happy with this setup. But my mother-in-law doesn't like it. She thinks that once a woman is married, she should quit her job and become a full-time housewife. Times have changed, now. Most couples both have jobs. Mike tries to calm her down, but she always insists. You earn the money, so she should handle the housework. Then, she adds, she's not even making much with that little business of hers, is she? She doesn't understand my work and keeps calling it a home business, as if it's just a hobby. I do my best to manage both work and housework, but since I don't fit her idea of a proper wife, she's never happy with me. Maybe, because she's so attached to Mike, she sees me as the woman who took him away. She's been making snide remarks since we got married. Mike told me that after his father passed away 5 years ago, she started relying on him more, even though he gets annoyed. I think he also likes being needed by her. Our house is in a quiet neighborhood. Mike's father bought it 30 years ago, and after he passed away, his life insurance paid off the mortgage. The house is now in my mother-in-law's name. It's the perfect size for the three of us, and I even have my own workspace, which is really helpful. My mother-in-law has lived here for decades and has many friends who often visit. Whenever they come over, I have to pause my work to serve them tea and snacks. These women love to complain about their daughters-in-law. Mine always runs back to her parents' house over the smallest things. Mine wastes money like crazy. My poor son is struggling. We even had debt collectors show up. I hear these conversations from my workspace, and it's frustrating. They always try to one-up each other about how bad their daughters-in-law are. One of them once said, "Jacqueline is amazing. She works and takes care of the house too." But my mother-in-law wasn't happy. "It's just a little home business. I doubt she makes much money." Then another woman added, "The money my daughter-in-law makes is all for herself, but her husband's salary is for the whole family." The whole group laughed. "Things weren't like this in our day," my mother-in-law said, launching into one of her usual stories. I put on my headphones. I've heard these complaints too many times, and I'm tired of them. They always make modern wives sound bad, and I don't want to listen, so I tune them out and focus on work. One evening at dinner, Mike said, "I've been thinking about getting a new car. What do you think?" "Why do you need her permission?" my mother-in-law snapped. Mike tried to explain, "Well, it's for all of us. I shouldn't decide alone, right? A car is a big purchase." But my mother-in-law wasn't convinced. "You're the only one who drives. Just buy whatever car you want." Mike, who usually listens to his mother, looked at me for help. "You can decide," I told him. "Stop asking your wife for everything, just make a decision," my mother-in-law scolded. Mike always checks with me or his mother before making decisions. It's nice that he isn't selfish, but sometimes it's frustrating. His late father used to make all the decisions alone, and my mother-in-law often complained about it. Since Mike grew up watching this, he believes it's wrong for a husband to be too controlling, but my mother-in-law, who lived with a strong-willed husband, thinks that's exactly how a man should be. So now, whenever Mike hesitates, she blames me. "Jacqueline keeps nagging him, that's why he's like this," she says. I was shocked and didn't know what to say. "Yeah, Jacqueline is always complaining, that's why I can't make decisions on my own," Mike said, blaming me. I tried to defend myself, but it felt useless. Mike never stood up for me. We had been married for 2 years, and in all that time, he never once defended me against his mother. When she wasn't around, he would apologize, saying, "I'm sorry, you're the most important person to me." But I didn't believe him anymore. At first, he seemed thoughtful, but I realized he never truly supported me. I started questioning our relationship. Could I keep living like this? There's a difference between being kind and being weak, and I just wanted him to stand up to his mother. A month later, Mike's new car arrived. "I love the smell of a new car. Let's go for a drive on my next day off," he said excitedly. His happiness was contagious, and even my mother-in-law seemed pleased. "That's a nice car. It must have been expensive, right? But it's okay since it's coming from your salary," she said. Mike didn't answer, He was too busy playing with the car's features. I stood there, staring at the fancy vehicle. I had told him he could pick whatever car he wanted, but I hadn't expected this. When he came inside, I confronted him. "How much did that car cost?" "660,000, he answered casually. When he saw my shocked face, he added, "But you said I could buy whatever I wanted, didn't you?" My mother-in-law jumped in. "That's right, you left it up to Mike, so don't complain now." She wasn't wrong, I had left it to him, but I thought he would consider our finances. "Where's that kind of money coming from?" I asked, ignoring her. "Well, I got a loan," he admitted. My mother-in-law snapped, "Jacqueline, stop complaining, you're not the one paying." I wasn't sure if she was mad because I ignored her or because I questioned Mike, but she glared at me. "You're such a difficult daughter-in-law, always complaining, even though you're living off Mike's salary." "I have a job too," I said firmly. But she just scoffed. "What job? You don't earn much from your little part-time work. Mike makes $5,000 a month." She spoke as if she was mocking me. I was about to correct her, to tell her I made that same amount, but when I looked at Mike, he had disappeared into his room. I had endured a lot, but this was the last straw. "I want a daughter-in-law like you to leave as soon as possible," she spat. I no longer cared about explaining my salary. My frustration with her was nothing compared to how disappointed I was in Mike. He was the one who caused this mess, yet he ran away. "Okay, I'll leave then," I said, my voice steady. I went to my home office, grabbed my laptop and a few important things, and walked toward the door. "I'll come back for the rest of my things later." My mother-in-law glared at me. Mike still stayed in his room. "The next time you come back, make sure you've signed the divorce papers," she yelled. "Did you hear me, you useless woman?" It was the first time she had spoken to me so cruelly. I was stunned but didn't react. Instead, I stormed out. Was she mad because I said I'd leave, just as she wanted, or because I confronted Mike? Either way, I knew one thing for sure: I wanted to leave that house as soon as possible. I went straight to my parents' home. "What happened?" my mom asked, surprised to see me. My dad took one look at me and said, "I don't know what's going on, but you can stay here as long as you need to." I never heard from Mike after that. The man who once cared about me before marriage was gone. Looking back, I realized how foolish I was for not seeing it sooner. Talking to my parents helped me clear my thoughts. "You don't have kids, so it's better to divorce now," my mom advised. I agreed. I had my own job, so I didn't have to worry about money. That weekend, my dad helped me move my things out of Mike's house. Mike wasn't home, and my mother-in-law stayed in her room. Standing in front of Mike's door, I called out, "Thank you for everything. Can you sign the divorce papers?" I slid them under the door. A quiet voice responded, "I've signed. Is this okay?" "Okay." I felt strangely empty. So, this was how it ended. Without saying another word to my mother-in-law, I left. I had lived in that house for 2 years, yet I had almost no good memories there. I went straight to City Hall and submitted the divorce papers. If my marriage could end with a single piece of paper, I wanted to get it over with quickly. After the divorce, I stayed at my parents' house and kept working. I thought about getting my own place, but my mom insisted. "Stay here for now, it's safer than living alone." My dad agreed. "Mike and his mom are strange. They might come looking for you." I doubted they would, but staying with my parents gave me peace of mind. I could work from anywhere, so I decided to stay with my parents for a while. 2 months later, I had almost forgotten about my ex-husband and mother-in-law when I got a call from an unknown number. I thought it was a wrong number, so I ignored it, but the calls kept coming. Reluctantly, I answered, and it was Mike, my ex-husband. "Why didn't you answer sooner?" he asked, sounding flustered. "Because it was an unknown number, and we're not together anymore, so I'm hanging up," I said, ready to end the call. "Wait," he said quickly, "I can't connect my smartphone." "Why is that?" His voice sounded desperate. "I wouldn't know. You should ask your phone company," I replied. Then I remembered something. "Are you not putting money in your bank account?" When we were married, I'd been putting money from my salary into the account we used to pay for utilities. Mike made a small salary, mostly from commissions, but his income was never enough, so I covered the rest. But for the past 3 months, only Mike's salary had been going into the account, and I wasn't contributing anymore. Our argument about the car and my leaving had happened in the middle of the month, so his new car payments had probably already started. Mike stayed quiet on the other end of the phone. I've been handling things on my own with my salary. You'll have to figure it out from now on, I told him before hanging up. He probably never told his mother how little he was earning compared to me. She had no idea that we had mostly been living off my salary, and he was too embarrassed to admit he made less than his wife. A few days later, on a quiet weekend morning, the doorbell rang loudly. When my dad answered, I heard him arguing with someone at the door. "We have nothing to do with you anymore. Leave," he said. Seeing my dad so angry made me worried. My mom and I headed to the front door. "I just want to see Jacqueline," my ex-mother-in-law shouted. My heart raced when I recognized her voice. She had come all the way to my parents' house. As soon as she saw me, she started yelling. "Because you stopped putting money in the account, the electricity and water got cut off," she yelled. We were all confused. What did she mean the utilities were cut off? Mike arrived and tried to calm her down. "Mom, stop, this isn't Jacqueline's fault," he said. But she ignored him and kept yelling. "Mike makes $5,000, how could the electricity and water be cut off?" she shouted. I finally spoke up. "You're wrong, I'm the one who makes $5,000. Her eyes widened in surprise, and she turned to Mike for confirmation. "Yeah, it was all Jacqueline's salary," he admitted, his shoulders slumping. "Huh? How can you earn that much with a part-time job?" she said, shocked. "I've told you before, it's not a part-time job, it's a real job," I said. Her face went pale. "How much does Mike make?" she asked, almost whispering. "About $500, Mike mumbled. There was silence. Then my ex-mother-in-law said something I couldn't believe. "Jacqueline, can't you come back? The whole leaving thing was just a joke," she begged, trying to flatter me. I couldn't believe it. "What are you talking about? I'm divorced. I don't have anything to do with you anymore." She kept pleading, but my dad stepped in. "We're done with you. If you don't leave now, we'll call the police." Hearing my dad's firm voice, they quickly left. "If you show up again, I'll call the cops," my father warned. "Those people are awful," my mother said, shocked. My dad was even angrier. "I'm glad you left that marriage, Jacqueline," he said. A while later, I heard some news about Mike from one of his friends. In the end, Mike sold his family home and moved into an apartment with his mother. He sold the car he barely used and used the money to pay off his remaining loan, but instead of getting his life together, Mike blew all his money gambling. After wasting the money from the house sale, Mike disappeared, and his mother, who had developed dementia, was put in a care facility. As for me, I'm doing well at my job and living on my own. I've even started dating a man I met through work. He understands my past and is very dedicated to his job. Unlike Mike, he doesn't rely on his wife's money to buy expensive things. We're not engaged yet, but we both feel like we could get married one day. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more great stories. Don't forget to tap the notification bell, so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments, we love hearing from you. See you next time, and take care.